Here we will see domain layer in clean architecture. The domain layer is the innermost part of an application which is responsible for encapsulating enterprise-wide business rules, core states, and fundamental data logic. It is completely independent from external technologies, frameworks, databases, and user interfaces, which ensures that the software remains stable when external system changes. It defines what the application does, not how it gets its data or displays it. Different responsibilities of domain layers are: the primary job of domain layer is to prevent invalid data or illegal business workflow from existing within the core application. First is business invariants. It protects internal consistency by validating core logic. For example, it ensures a price cannot be zero or an order cannot be processed without items. Then universal language. It expresses terms and processes using industry-specific language explicitly mapped to code. And stability. It makes software volatile with enterprise rule, even if you switch your entire technology stack. Structural building blocks of domain layers are: to model the problem domain effectively, this layer depends on highly encapsulated pure data and structural patterns, which ensures each component accurately reflects the business domain. First is entity. These are the business objects defined by a unique identity rather than their attributes. For example, a user with unique ID whose email address can change over time. Then value objects. These are the immutable objects defined strictly by their attributes, which contains no distinct identity. For example, an address or money component. Then aggregates. It is a cohesion of entities and value objects which are treated as a single unit. For example, order items and payment details. Aggregate roots. These are the gatekeepers of aggregates, which serves as the primary point of interaction and ensures the enforcement of business invariants. For example, order entity in the order aggregate. Then domain events. These are the key business events that are significant to domain expert. For example, an order created event. And domain services. These are the operations that encapsulate domain logic not naturally fitting within an entity or value object. There are some benefits of domain layer. First, framework independence. Core business rules are totally decoupled from UI frameworks and technical infrastructure, which allows for easy technology stack changes. High testability. The domain layer depends on abstractions rather than concrete implementation, which makes it effortless to mock dependencies and write fast isolated unit tests. Then reusability. By splitting specific workflows into singular use cases, you can reuse identical business logic across multiple parts of your application. For example, mobile apps, desktop clients, or web interfaces. And maintainability. It enforces a single responsibility principle. When business requirements change, developers only need to update the domain layer, which leaves the presentation and data layers untouched. There are some drawbacks of domain layer. First, increased complexity. A domain layer adds extra components such as entities, value objects, domain services, domain events, interfaces, which makes more files, more folders, and difficult to understand. Then steeper learning curve. Developers needs to understand concepts like clean architecture, domain-driven design, dependency inversion, domain events, value objects, aggregates. So it is difficult for new team member to understand, and they may need additional time to become productive. Then more development time. It will take more time for creating interfaces, domain models, application services, repository abstractions. Also, it requires more effort than a simple crude application. Then overkill for small applications. For a small application such as employee directory, contact manager, internal admin tool, a full domain layer may not provide enough value. A domain layer is usually worthwhile when the application has complex business rules, multiple developers are working on it, the project is expected to grow, and long-term maintenance is important. And a domain layer may not be necessary when the application is small, business rules are minimal, the project is a prototype, and development speed is more important than the long-term maintainability.